Too bad we can't talk to a Senate Republican. Oh, wait. To talk more about where things stand on the stimulus front, let's bring in Senator Mike Braun, Republican from Indiana. Would you go for $250 on this for the state help? And what about some of the other provisions, Senator?
So I listened to all of that, and I think that's a pretty good depiction of where we are. I think for Senate Republicans, we had one out there a couple weeks ago that was in that 500 billion range, maybe a little lower if you take some of the repurposing in. But the dynamic is exactly where it is, and I think that the Dems are more likely to come our direction. For many Senate Republicans, it'll be the top line figure regardless of the content, and that was reflected in ours. But that doesn't mean that you might not get 10 to 15, maybe 20 Republicans in the Senate that would go along with what the Senate Democrats would be okay with. It will happen, I think, in a tight time frame because our calendar, which is split between legislative and executive, is highly zeroed in on executive with the nominee of Amy Coney Barrett. So you got to keep that in mind as well. This place doesn't move like the real world that I'm used to. It's very lumbering when you get stuff done, but there is some urgency. Real quickly, airlines, downtown hotels, entertainment venues, sports venues, and some restaurants. That is basically, and any ripple effect from them, where the economy is hurting. My view, and especially from a place like Indiana, is that almost everybody else is back on their feet in the sense that numbers compared to months in 2019, many are there or above, and there's that part of the economy that all of us think probably still needs some attention, a question of how much.
So if the House and Pelosi were at 2-4, and what was the Senate bill was like $300 billion, wasn't it? And,
that's a big difference, yeah.
And then now she's great. She went to 2-2 from 2-4, I think. Yeah. And you're going from Mnuchin's going from 300 to 1.6. Could they still say no? We want more.
So anything in that neighborhood or above, you'll lose. My guess would be a third to a half of Senate Republicans due to the top line amount, because we need, in a tactical, surgical way, closer to what we put out there. You still got a lot of other stuff in 2.2, and sure, that sounds like she's come a long way, but 3.3 was preposterous. I mean, where they started originally.
I said she went down from 2.4 to 2.3, and you guys, or 2.2, and you guys are like, I don't know. It looks like you're getting your lunch eaten again, but I'm not saying we shouldn't do it. Go ahead.
And I think that still could happen, because if it gets down in the 1.5 range, you'll have enough Republicans that'll probably go along with all the Senate Democrats in the Senate, and the House may come along. Who knows? But there's a tight time frame because most of the calendar will be used up with the hearings and the vote leading up right before election.
So, Senator, a lot of Republicans were saying that the Speaker and Chuck Schumer don't want to give a win to Republicans, or especially to President Trump before the election with additional stimulus, which would help. So, was that a faux accusation, or is that dynamic still in play?
That dynamic is definitely still in place. I know it was just 2 years ago when I went through this whole gauntlet. The Kavanaugh hearings were there, and how political appointments of that stature get, let alone what you do right before an election with a package. This place is all political. The one thing disturbing to a guy like me that comes from Main Street, been part of a state legislature where you have none of that stuff when you're trying to accomplish a common goal. That'll be the debrief on my first 2 years here, would be, is the American public going to tolerate this kind of bizarre nature for the biggest business in the world, the federal government, so many people dependent upon it, that gets run so poorly and so politically. I think that'll be the rendering that every politician here is going to need to pay attention to post-election.
You mentioned Kavanaugh. You're from Indiana. That's the home state of ACB. Andrew has a question. I thought I was ending it, but okay. So here we go, Senator.
Well, no, I just wanted to get the senator's take, frankly, on the debates and how he sees the country viewing what a lot of people look like as a missed opportunity. I know it's often been said there's a missed opportunity for both sides, but I was curious, in particular, because you've supported the president, whether you thought that his performance or how you would grade his performance.
So I think the whole thing needed an adult timeout, and I don't think it helped. There are so few people that are still kind of stewing on who to vote for, and in my time here, I think that will be a differential with either Biden explaining what some of the craziness will result in with so much more government spending, Green New Deal, Medicare for all, some of the political stuff like stacking the court, getting rid of the legislative filibuster. That is where the president should have been drilling in for clarity there. And if the president can't clearly explain the number one thing that he's got the argument on his side with is how good the economy has been, and not get into what we saw on Tuesday evening. He's got two more chances, and I think that is the key. There is a lot to be talked about there. I came here on issues: high cost of health care, climate, no budget done, no fiscal responsibility. Maybe the voters that are yet undecided would like to hear a little bit about that.
Okay. All right, Senator Braun, thank you.
You bet.
That was good to have your, after Elon's report, just to see exactly where everything stands. So we appreciate you stepping up for us. Thanks.